unmute the mic, unmute the audio, and hello, my friends. It is February 26th. It is a Monday, so that means it's time for another Rhev's Palaver. We're not having any technical difficulties, so you can forget about that. That didn't happen at all. And I'm joined by Captain Druhillion of the USS Starfleet Starship, the Druhillion. Captain, good to see you. Do simple civilian plebs like me, do we salute captains?
No, you're a civilian. No, you're fine.
Okay. We are going to be talking Star Trek today, and Drew is...
Really?
Yeah.
Is that what we're talking today? Okay.
Drew went all out. I called him on Skype, and I'm like, oh my God, you're amazing. And now I feel like a schlub. I'm like, You know what I should have done is I should have just worn a red shirt. I could have been like, a red shirt. That's what I should have done. Anyways, let me just really quick tell you how awesome Drew is. So Drew is someone who I met through Team MZ. He's a fellow Team MZ member. Also, we're both in the Daily Grind, which is another much smaller community. And you're also a member of the Twitch Kittens community, I believe, right?
Yep.
Fantastic streamer. I've watched you playing quite a bit of Dead by Daylight.
Yeah.
But he streams over at twitch.tv/Druhillion. So, Drew, why don't you tell everyone like what you kind of do on your stream, what time you stream, all that good stuff. Give yourself a little self-promotion before we start.
All right. Well, I am Druhillion. You can call me Drew. I'm a variety streamer on Twitch. I pretty much stream this, that, and everything, whatever I'm in the mood for, if something's recommended and it looks interesting to me, I'll give it a shot. For me, when I stream, I really like interacting with people who come to streams. If you come in and you say hi, I'm going to do my best to chat up with you and kind of have, our own, to use Rev's phrase, our own little palaver during stream.
Yes! And you are very good at it. I've noticed, even when you're playing those games like Dead by Daylight, where you have to really focus on the game, you're very good about just look over, oh, hey, how's it going? Even if you're like really intense in the middle of something, I noticed you have very good control of watching chat and interacting with them. Yeah,
because I think you and Coyote mentioned it on the last Palaver that that's the thing about as a Twitch streamer, it's all about the interaction.
Yeah.
And I remember years early on when I first got into Team MZ, and another Team MZ streamer told me, it's like, you know what, the gameplay is secondary. The reason people are there is for you, the streamer. And once I heard that, I was like, okay, I get it now. And, it's something that I've always continued to try to work on and improve as best as I can. I usually stream towards the ends of the weeks, late nights. I stream Friday, Saturday, Sunday, late nights, starting about 3 a.m. Eastern usually.
So that's because you're Pacific Coast, so you start at midnight Pacific time.
Exactly, yes. Yeah, midnight Pacific, 3 a.m. Eastern. Yep. Mm-hmm.
I only mention that because Hazmat is on the Pacific Coast, and he's always doing the mental math to convert whatever I say into his time, so I just thought it was funny that you were doing the mental math to convert it to Eastern. I'm like, I'm just going to throw a Pacific for poor Hazmat. And
yeah, because it seems like Eastern Standard is kind of like what, most times that like a program or whatever is usually used. So,
well, I think one of the advantages to using Eastern Standard Time is a lot of people who are in European time, like especially in the UK, they hear EST and they're like, okay, so plus 5 hours. And then if people are on the Pacific Coast, they just think, minus 3 hours. Eastern really kind of hits, it sits in the middle of a lot of the popular ranges, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For sort of the Euro-American Twitch base.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't know. And I will say, Drew always does look nice on stream, but he's not usually wearing, his full captain's outfit. And that's the old style. That's the Star Trek movies outfit, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
See? I'm pretty good. I know because they like to undo this and have this thing hanging over the back and then this flap halfway out.
Oh yeah. So like the classic, Kirk on the bridge look like that. Yeah.
I always always annoyed me whenever they would do that in the movies.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you're button up your shit, man. Like, what are you doing? You're the captain. Like, and they'll walk around like that for half the movie. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, this isn't the style where, like, you're like, oh, I'm gonna pop my collar or I'm gonna wear boot hugger jeans instead of. I mean, this is a uniform. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Although, I mean, Kirk in like the movies you've seen, like usually, I don't know if it's intentional, but sometimes he ends up walking around like that, as opposed to everybody else.
Yeah.
Which I think is hilarious.
Well, I mean, if we want to go a little meta here, I know what it is. It's a factor of when they're creating the movies, it creates a visual distinction between the characters. It's showing you that this character is special.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, dude, come on, you're the captain. That's a uniform. It's not Casual Friday on the Enterprise. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's just jump right into Star Trek. So, since we're starting on uniforms, here's my first question for you: which uniforms are the best? Now you can go all of the movies, all of the series. What uniform for you is the best one?
For me, I mean, the reason I picked this one is because to me, this is the best looking uniform of all of them. The Next Generation ones were kind of like the jumpsuit. I mean, they started as a jumpsuit, and they were still, for the most part, even in the later seasons, they were still pretty much a jumpsuit. I mean, which is fine. But I like this generation of uniforms because it really does look like a uniform. Nothing against the Next Generation, nothing against DS9 and Discovery and Voyager, but I like this one the most because it really looks like a in my opinion the most militaristic of all the uniforms, and I just think it looks the coolest of all of them, in my opinion. Nothing against any others. This one I just like to me looks more cool, and for me, the first 6 movies were my favorite films. Nothing against any of the others or the Next Generation films or the reboots. But those first 6, because this uniform was so iconic for me, this one has become my favorite, and is why I got it.
That makes a lot of sense. I like and on that note, I like that badge too.
Yes.
It's bigger, it's wider, it's got a lot more pop to it than some of the later ones. I definitely agree with you on that. Now, that being said, not my favorite. That one's not my favorite.
Which one is?
Well, I would have to say pilot episode. You don't only see it, I think, in the pilot episode of TNG. It's the male one-piece micro skirt.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And I'm being 100% sarcastic. I think it is hilarious that they decided they were going to bring, Next Generation was this bring back, Star Trek. And they, there was a lot of criticism back about how the old show had women were all in miniskirts and stockings, right? And so they said, oh, well, we're going to show there's equality, and we're going to put in several scenes where you see men walking by in miniskirts. And I liked that. I actually did like that aspect that they threw that in there. But, oh, my God, I'm so glad that was it. It was just that one episode.
Yes.
Because that was terrible. Now,
because I reacted the exact same way when I saw the pilot, and I was like, okay, I get it, but yeah. It was a little much, it was a little like, all right, dude, we get it. Men and women are equal. All right. Yeah.
So I did like that. I liked the aspect that they brought that back just to show that there was equality between the genders. And actually, if you go and look into lore, it talks about how that was phasing out before the Enterprise was commissioned. They were it talks about how the uniforms go through phases, and so then people on star bases will have different uniforms than ones on starships, but whatever. That's getting way too inside. My favorite uniform, you're going to laugh at this, is actually the ones from Enterprise, which is the, the Scott Bakula series.
The Jonathan Archer uniforms.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And it's very much like what you said in the sense that it looks like a uniform. First and foremost, they're all wearing it except for the Vulcan, who's not a member of Starfleet. I mean, they're all wearing the same thing. It's very uniform. It's very, and not only that, but it's also very functional. They've got pockets that they keep their giant bulky devices in. Like when they have to use their communicators, he pulls up a Velcro flap and pulls it out of his, a cargo pocket he's got on his sleeve. You know, I can't remember who, but there was one episode where one character had like not some sort of tools in his like thing up here. And on top of that, there's like badges and insignias all over it. And the rank is very clearly denoted, but it's subtle. It's like lines. You know, so I think that's actually my favorite uniform just because it feels the most real to me. Yeah.
That uniform for me was probably my second favorite because, like you say, because it does look like a uniform and it was just so usable in the field. Like, you can, like the guy you're talking about can have all the gear on, but he can take all that off and it's just back to the basic uniform.
Yeah. And another thing, they constantly were, when they would have to take their phase pistols, which were like giant, compared to all the other shows, they put them in these holsters and they would like just Velcro right to their side, which was, again, it was another thing like, that uniform was designed to be modular in a way, Yes. Like they didn't have to take a gun belt and strap a gun belt on. They just took the holster and it stuck right to their uniform.
Yep.
So that's the reason that was my favorite. Now, very close second is the ones from Deep Space Nine. And again, for some of the same reasons where the colors were all very similar. So all of the characters had a uniform color, but then it was like their undershirts had the colors. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Those DS9 uniforms were probably my third favorite uniforms.
So we're actually in pretty much step. You put the old school one above but then otherwise we're in step on this. I like that, Drew.
Yeah.
I like that. I will say by far though the worst was the mini man skirt. Like.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad they phased that one out too.
Yeah. Oh God, and honestly, we have to remember that a lot of the choices that are made from a design perspective for the TV viewer, right?
Yes.
So on that note, how do you feel about the uniforms on the newest show, Star Trek Discovery? Because Discovery is by far the most stylized, flashy of all the series.
Yeah, I'm really impressed by the Federation uniform in Discovery. I really like it. It's really sleek. I love the gold Federation badge, and I just think it's really cool. That would, after seeing Discovery, I would say that would probably my fourth favorite uniform of all the uniforms in Star Trek. Yeah.
Well, I like that it's a separate jacket and pants. Like they're separate. That to me seems a lot more functional than the unitard. And I like that there's I can't remember exactly, but I think there's zippers on it in weird places, and also like there's like leather on the elbows. Again, it's just things that make it feel like a functional uniform as opposed to just totally stylistic. But they do make some choices that are weird. Like they have like gold mesh on the sides and then like weird piping that goes up here, and the collar is offset. There's some weird choices that I don't love.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I gotta be honest, I don't love Discovery.
I gotta say, I remember when it was coming out and I was really excited for there to be another Star Trek on TV. And then when I heard mixed reviews about it, and a couple of people that I know that are Star Trek fans like myself came back and told me and said, or one of them specifically told me, it just doesn't feel very Star Trek. And I went, what? So I held off from seeing any of the series until just yesterday. And I watched the first 2 episodes, and it's cool to see how it starts. I am anxious to see how it goes from there. So I'm not going to make any decisions on the series yet. I think once I get through all the series that are there,
right,
then I'll make a more. But the 2 episodes that I saw, I personally, as a Star Trek fan, I'm excited.
Yeah,
so,
it is weird that you have to sort of make that distinction. You're like, even if I don't like this, it's still Star Trek on. It's still new episodes of Star Trek, so I love it. But at the same time, yeah. I watched every episode when it came out until they took the mid-season break, and I haven't gone back to it.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I take that back. I watched the first episode after the mid-season break. Is it okay if I give you a very minor spoiler?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So
I probably won't remember anyway.
Well, the first episode when they come back from the mid-season break, they go into the alternate dark universe.
Oh, interesting.
It is interesting, and I even have to say, I kind of like the way they handle that. I feel like it's one of the best ways that the dark universe has been handled out of any of the, alternate universes so far. Like, yeah, they really did actually, it feels a lot more like how the original series handled it than any of the others. Like, so we saw a lot of the alternate universe in Deep Space Nine.
Yes.
And we saw... No, wait, did we see any in Voyager? I can't remember if we saw any in Voyager. I know we didn't in
I don't remember... Yeah, I don't remember I don't think in Voyager. Not that I recall, no.
And there was some in Enterprise. I thought Enterprise did it pretty good. And, but the way they deal with it in Discovery feels a lot like the harkening back to the whole Spock-Kirk episodes where they first introduced the idea. So that's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. But even then, I was like, you know what? I'm not digging the show, and I kind of tapped out. I'll go back and rewatch it eventually. But I think my biggest problem with Discovery is it feels like that Kelvin universe that J.J. Abrams offshot.
Okay.
And it's supposed to be main timeline, but there's so much that doesn't fit. It's like, why are you insisting this is main timeline? You could have just said it's a Kelvin universe story.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to getting to that point then.
Yeah. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, there's a couple episodes in there that are rough, dude. Like, I was watching
Really?
It. Yeah, I don't know, episode 4 or 5. I'm like, I was ready to tap out then. I was like...
Was it just slow?
So it's hard to describe. It's a combination of a lot of things. Like, it's that sometimes it really feels like the pace is just drawn out and they're just focusing just on Michael Burnham and the captain, or Michael Burnham and Saru, or Michael Burnham and this character, and Michael Burnham and that. But it just feels like it's all about Michael Burnham all the time. So that's one problem, first of all. And that's never what Star Trek's been about. Star Trek has always been an ensemble cast.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So that's problem number one. Problem number two is they got way too flashy with the special effects. They went really into the whole...
I agree, yes.
Style over substance.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing that really gets me is how bad it retcons a lot of the lore. Like, if you've seen the first episode or two, you've seen the Klingons.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
What? Like, how is this supposed to be the main timeline and they look like that?
Yes, yeah. I don't know if that was like an artistic liberty. I'll let it go and see where it goes. But compared to all of the rest of the other Star Treks, it's like, okay, that's different.
And again, the thing that kills me is they already changed the way Klingons looked for the, the Kelvin universe movies. So you could just change them again and say, yeah, this is Kelvin universe. They look different. This is what they look like.
Yeah.
But it feels so very, very strange. I have a theory about it. I have a
Which is
okay. So this is my theory.
okay.
My theory is they know that when you go back in time, it's hard to introduce new races. So you have to bring back the Klingons. You have to bring back the old aliens, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's like, dude, how many times have we seen shows where you've seen the same aliens that have long, wavy black hair, goatee, mustache here, and ridges on their head? It's like we've seen that a million times.
Right. True.
And they're like, we want to do something different.
Yeah. And that was my thought on, I guess they took an artistic liberty.
Yeah.
That's all I can think of.
I will say I like the ship designs, the Klingon ships. I don't know how much you really get to see it, but they look really good.
Yeah. They look even more, at least in the when you see it in the first 2 episodes that I see, when they fight and all those ships warp in. Man, I really like what they did with the ship design for the Klingons. They just look more menacing.
Yeah. And again, it goes back to we've been seeing Klingon ships since the original series, and the profiles are recognizable. So to make it a little different, I think that's a good choice from a viewer point of view.
Yeah.
But again, as a diehard Star Trek nerd, it's like, yeah, but you're retconning all the lore.
Yeah.
Yes, Shadowfire Angel. It's Captain Druhillion of the starship Drew Celsior. Yes. We are totally nerding out about Star Trek today, so hopefully if you're here, you don't mind that.
Yeah.
I know that Star Trek is not everyone's cup of tea.
Yeah.
So you've joined the Proper Nerds Discord, and you stop in and say hi like once a day, which I love. Most of the people in there are big Star Wars buffs, and I've talked.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, okay.
I've talked Star Wars to death.
So you're in the minority as far as the Star Trek fans and Proper Nerds?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they're all there's so many Star Wars nerds, and they're like, Star Wars better than Star Trek, and I'm like,
no, I see when people say one series is better than the other. To me, I look at the series. It's like it's apples and oranges. How can you compare the two? They're so drastic, in my opinion, such drastically different universes. I mean, yeah, that's what I feel about it. I mean, I love Star Wars too. Don't get me wrong, but between the two franchises, I gotta go with Star Wars because just the amount of time that I've had with all the content and just having background knowledge, I'm way more knowledgeable in Star Trek than Star Wars, personally.
Well, I've always said that the big difference between Star Trek and Star Wars is Star Trek is science fiction, Star Wars is science fantasy.
Ooh, that's a good way to put it.
They have magical swords and magic users who cast spells. Star Trek doesn't. Star Trek is science fiction. Yeah, they have techno magic, basically, but it's not...
Right.
Almost everything in Star Trek is rooted in some sort of scientific grounded principle, whereas...
Yes.
When I was having one of the debates I was having with someone about Star Wars, I was like, well, I hated how blah, blah, blah did this. And they're like, well, the Force. I'm like, you can't just... you can't have a discussion about what is wrong with any of the Star Wars movies because they're like, well, the Force. That's just a hand wave that just dismisses everything. Well, the Force did it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, the Force.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were.
But I like the way that you put it, science fantasy and science fiction. I think for me, that's probably why I like the Star Trek franchise and world a little bit more because it is, based on or influenced by real life science. And I think for me that's the real reason I really like it. I mean, I love Star Wars and just getting lost in the story and throwing in the Force. It's like, okay, that's why that happened. But when you go back into any of the Star Trek franchises, from the original series to even Discovery, everything is science fact, either influenced or based on, and that's why I really love that, and it's why I probably nerd out more on Star Trek than Star Wars.
Dude, I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you. It just, well, and can I be a little bit elitist here?
Sure.
Here's the other reason why I feel like Star Wars, and mind you, again, I love Star Wars. I'm not shitting on Star Wars at all when I say this. So understand that. Okay. To get into Star Wars, you need to watch like 9 or 10 hours worth of stuff, right? Like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm under, like, maybe let's bump it up to 20. You need to watch 20 hours worth of movies. And I guess if you want the Clone Wars, which are canon, then that's, a series. Oh,
that's right.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's like, let's just say 20 hours worth of movies. But Star Trek, it's like 700 hours worth of television.
Yes.
Like, that's a serious commitment of time to explore that universe.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And when I was actually on the Team MZ server, and I was looking around for people who were interested, and I had someone else who was actually going to be on from Team MZ, one of the mods, but she couldn't get Skype to work. So I was like, okay.
Oh, that's right. I remember you talking about that in the last Palaver with Coyote. Yeah.
So then one day I was watching your stream, and you mentioned Star Trek, and I'm like, dude, do you like Star Trek? You're like, yeah.
Yes.
Like, we're going to talk.
Yeah, I remember that.
I've been waiting to do a Star Trek episode for over a year. Like,
really?
I love Star Trek. I literally just finished rewatching Star Trek Deep Space Nine last night.
Ooh.
It's like my 5th rewatch of it, But just like once every 2 years, I go through all of the series. I have it up while I'm doing other stuff.
Yeah. The Deep Space Nine series I've seen at least twice all the way through, just because it's just so more unique and different from the other, because it had a little bit of a darker tone of it.
Right. I'm just going to address Shadowfire Angel there. That was actually something we talked about right when you came in, is that it feels weird because the creators have said that it is set in the original timeline, and I feel like that's a misstep. If they had just said, no, this is Kelvin timeline, not original, everything would make sense. But there's so much retconning and there's so much weirdness, it doesn't feel like it fits in the normal one. So back to Deep Space Nine. I'm going to tell you something. Deep Space Nine is, in my opinion, it's not only my favorite, but it's by far the best series. And some people are like, what? Deep Space Nine? That's so weird. Yeah, because it's so dark. All the other series, all you're getting is the view of the galaxy from the perspective of a Federation ship where everything's clean and everything's nice.
Yes.
And they've got their Prime Directive and they've got all their
Yeah.
And Deep Space Nine shows you, no. The galaxy's a big place, and there's a lot of people out there that aren't Federation, that don't like the Federation.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was really... And plus, come on, the Cardassians are such a great villain.
Yes.
What's his name? Garrett Alamo, who plays Gul Dukat.
Yeah.
Dude, he is...
That's such a great character. Oh my goodness.
He's one of the best villains that's ever been on TV.
Yeah.
Gul Dukat is just such a good villain. It's just unbelievable. And you want to know another thing that I learned recently? The Cardassian that's on the station, Garrick, he's the tailor.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was originally only planned to be a one-off character. And they decided they liked him so much they kept bringing him back. And the more they got him in there, the more the writers were like, dude, we love Garrick. We want to keep writing Garrick into the... Yeah. But he was originally just going to be a one-off, just like throwaway character.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to throw this Voyager with being in the Delta Quadrant and it's exactly light. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Drew.
No, I was going to say, as for talking about Gul Dukat as a great villain, I think for me, when you're talking about Star Trek villains, Gul Dukat is probably my second favorite villain behind Khan.
Yeah, Khan is pretty amazing. As long as we're talking about original series Khan, I didn't care for the Benny Hoozle Cumber Snoozle version that they did in the movies.
Yeah, it was an interesting take on that, but I mean, I get it. You know, it's the whole reboot of the series and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, okay, I get it, and I'm okay with it. But you know, Ricardo Montalban as Khan is just so epic.
Dude, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
I got to agree. Yeah. All right. I'm with you. You changed my mind. I just started thinking about Ricardo Montalban on the bridge. Fire! And I'm like, oh, he's so good. You're right. I agree. I changed my mind. You convinced me. But Gul Dukat, number 2. Gul
Yes,
Dukat,
absolutely.
I mean, dude, I think that Gul Dukat as a villain beats out the Borg in terms of villain.
I agree. I'm with you. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
You know,
because the Borg were just kind of like, to me, it was just impending doom. For when I look at the Borg, that's how the sense I get from the Borg is like, you're gonna die, and that's all that's gonna matter. With you know, Gul Dukat and any of the other races, you have a little bit more to, you know. I mean, with Dukat, watching him through the series, the DS9 series, is like, okay, for the most part, he's evil, but there are some times when he's like, okay, that's not Gul Dukat, but I loved that. Like I think it was whatever arc it was when he dealt with his daughter.
mm-hmm.
I really liked those episodes that showed the father of Gul Dukat.
Mm-hmm.
That I really liked. You can't get that with the Borg.
No. The Borg are scary AF, right? Like, they're scary.
Mm-hmm.
There's no denying that. But they're almost like you can't hate them. It's like hating a tornado. You know, it's like hating an earthquake. It's like hating a hurricane. It's like, yeah, you can hate it, but it's not like, it's just like the Borg are just a force of nature. They're just, you know, they're not even like villains. They're just, they're almost as bad as just like a bad plasma storm. You know, like they just are. They're just, you know, whereas Khan and the Cardassians and the Dominion and all these other villains that you see, the Romulans, like, they have motives and they have complexity and they have depth.
Mm-hmm.
They have reason.
Yes.
Or just like, you will be assimilated.
And that's it.
That's it. That's the end of it.
There's no discussion. There's no sitting at a table talking about this. Nope, that's it. Done.
Yeah. In fact, I would even go so far as to say the only time the Borg were really, really scary is when they kidnapped Picard, and it was the the last 30 seconds of that season where Picard shows up on the screen and he says, "I am Locutus of Borg."
Of Borg, yes.
It's like, dude, literally just as I said that, I got goosebumps. Like, that's that's that, like, that in that moment you're like, oh my god, wait, well, this is not the Borg that we know of, you know?
No.
Yeah.
I remember when there's not many, you know, very many shows where that kind of paralyzed me in a moment. But man, the moment he finished that line, I was like, Federation's done. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's it.
Shadowfire Angel says, you know, the Borg are scary because the lore says even the Q continuum are wary of them.
Yes, that's a good point. Mm-hmm.
Now,
absolutely. Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna touch on this though. What Shadowfire just said.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the only other person? What's the only other thing you ever see the Q even mildly concerned about, other than themselves?
Ooh, that was gonna be my answer.
Yeah, I mean, other than themselves. There's only one other thing you ever see the Q Continuum concerned about. It's in Next Generation.
Okay.
The episode centers heavily around Riker.
Oh, is it of people like bringing? I don't know what it's like, unlocking like the Q powers in somebody. Is that what it is?
Humanity. They say humanity is the only race they're actually concerned about because they can see humanity evolving into beings like them or more powerful than them.
Oh.
And that's why they try to recruit Riker into becoming a Q, because they want to.
That makes sense.
Yeah, they want to learn what makes humanity so special and what makes humanity so different. And so I think that that's interesting, in that sense that going back to what Shadowfire Angel just said. So why are they wary of the Borg? Do the Borg have that potential as well? And if so, does that mean that the Borg might present a real threat to the Q? Maybe 2 millennia, 3 millennia, 100 millennia in the future?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
At that point, all bets are off. The galaxy's doomed. Just count your days, because it's over.
Now,
I mean, a Borg Q? Come on.
I will say that Voyager was probably one of my least favorite series. I mean, obviously...
Because?
Well, I'll get into that. Discovery is by far my least favorite. Voyager is kind of one of my least favorite. There's actually a lot of reasons for that. I'll go into it. But specifically regarding the Borg, I felt like it was interesting that they were traveling through Borg space, but there was never any real sense of fear. You never really felt like they were traveling through Borg space other than 2 episodes. You know what I mean? And then Kes knocks them clear, and it's okay, now they're done. It's well... That, you totally wasted the Borg, in my opinion.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that makes any sense. Now, the reason why Voyager is my least favorite is, first of all, I have to go outside of the show. I have to go to the meta of the show. They had a massive problem with the writers during that series.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, really?
Dude, their writing staff was all over the place. The characters were written differently in different seasons by different crews. Certain characters never had a natural evolution. If you look at Harry Kim, he's the same for the first 6 seasons. He is exactly the clueless ensign. And it's only until season 6 that they finally says, I want to take more responsibility. On any other ship, I'd be a lieutenant or maybe even a lieutenant commander by now. And he goes, there's no opportunity for me to grow. And that's the writers saying, hey, we know that this character has not evolved at all. And Garrett Wang, who played Harry, has even come out and said, that was the biggest problem for me with that show was my character was 7 years, he was the butt of every joke. He was the perpetual noob. Tom Paris gets promoted twice.
That's true. I forgot about that.
So, anyways, to continue on. So, they had a massive problem with the writing. A lot of the writers didn't get along with some of the other writers. A lot of the crew on set didn't get along with the other crew. There's massive rumors about how everyone hated Kate Mulgrew. And
really?
Yeah, Kate Mulgrew was apparently just a real ball buster. A lot of people didn't like Jerry Ryan when she got brought on. Yeah, it's just, so there was a lot of conflict off screen that I think carried over, and it shows. Tom Paris is all over the place. He's never written consistently in any way. There's the only character who evolves on that show. There's only one character who evolves, and that's the Doctor.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point. Yes.
It's the one non-human character is the only one who actually seems human and grows and evolves. So it's kind of weird. Yeah, if you've never seen Star Trek, you might not get a lot out of this palaver. I'm sorry, Skink. So yeah, that was one of my big problems. The other one is I felt like they sort of cheated a lot. Oh, it's going to take us 75 years to get home. But then they were constantly just oh, now it's only going to take... That just took 10 years off of our journey. Oh, we just did that. Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a wormhole. Oh. It was kind of like... and I also think, too, that the mentality that they would have had, even if you're thinking, it's going to take us 75 years to get home... Their mentality would have had to have been different. Even though they're Starfleet, and blah, blah, blah. Any Starfleet officer would have been thinking...
One of your viewers has just subscribed.
Thank you very much to Impulse Skink for his Twitch Prime subscription. You, sir, get the big ups. Whoop, whoop. Thank you very much, Max.
Whoop, whoop.
It would have just made more sense if they started thinking about a generational ship, building allies on their journey, recruiting new people into the crew from various worlds. But they're like, no, we're going to be a Federation ship until we go home. And they just set off. And when they meet up with Captain Ransom of, I can't remember the name of the ship, but at one point they find another Federation ship that's like badly damaged.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of the ship, but it was a Nova class.
I can't either. Yes, it was, yeah.
Like, yeah, what they were doing is what humans would do. Like, humans strive to survive. And it feels like they don't really care. Like, well, we'll get home or not. Like, whatever.
That was UPN just milking the series. But I enjoyed. I mean, as far as Voyager goes, I enjoyed it. I really liked the Captain Janeway as a character. Number one, because
incoming transmission of funds from another user.
Star Trek universe, which is main series lead, which was awesome, and I liked learning about the different, all about Captain Janeway, from where her ties were on Earth, and to see how she evolved as a captain throughout the series. I really liked it. Her interactions with the crew, but I really liked the interactions between her and Chakotay and Tuvok. I thought her interactions between those two characters specifically, I really enjoyed.
I'm just going to real quick say, and thank you very much to Max. Don't worry, I won't tell Sarah. Big ups to you. Thank you for the donation. Woo, woo. Max just threw a donation my way, so thank you very much. And thank you for the
nice.
Thank you. Very appreciated.
Nice.
I love Kate Mulgrew as an actress. I think she's fantastic. I think she did a fantastic job as Captain Janeway. However, I think her role as Red on Orange is the New Black, I don't know if you've ever watched that show, destroys. She is such a good actress on Orange is the New Black. And I thought Robert Picardo, a.k.a. the Doctor, was very good. Other than that, I don't think there was a single good actor on Voyager. I don't like any of the actors. I don't think anyone did a good job acting. I thought Tuvok, the entire challenge, and playing a Vulcan is challenging.
Yes.
It's to show constantly the struggle to not show emotion when you should, and to express the emotions in a way that show that you are controlling your emotions, like Spock was very good, the raised eyebrow or the head tilt, but that was it. Whereas Tuvok was for a Vulcan was practically a raging ball of emotions. He would grit his teeth and it was terrible. I thought he played a terrible Vulcan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he would do it over little things too, like he would sigh and just way too much emoting. So I thought Robert Beltran, who played Chakotay, did okay. I didn't no problems. I thought Garrett Wang did okay. I thought he was dealing with, and that was another thing. Chakotay's character was never written well. That was another thing that came out. Like people, like his. I thought some of the interesting episodes were the ones that dealt with his heritage, but.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I just didn't feel like there was much to do with him. Like, the things with him and Seska, the Cardassian. Painful to watch. Painful to watch. I couldn't stand it. B'Elanna was interesting. I like B'Elanna, and I thought that Gina Torres did a good job with her. I didn't like Paris. Now, conversely, let's compare this to some of the other series. So... It's hard to ever fault Next Generation because you got Brent Spiner and you got Patrick Stewart, who are two of the finest actors to ever be on Star Trek, right?
Absolutely.
And then on top of that, you got some other pretty good actors too. Like LeVar Burton is fantastic, I thought. Michael Dorn is fantastic as Worf. Marina Sirius has her moments. Jonathan Frakes is pretty good as Riker.
Yeah.
But one of the reasons why Deep Space Nine is my favorite, every actor is good. At least, like, every actor is above average. You know what I mean? And then some of them...
Yes.
Some of them are amazing. Like, the performances from Renee Auberjonis, who plays Odo, or... Oh God, who played Quark? Whatever. The actor who played Quark, dude, they're
Is it Armin Shimmerman?
Yes.
No.
Yes, you're right.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
All right. Yes.
They're almost as good as Brett Spiner and Patrick Stewart. They're so good. And Nana Visitor, who plays Kira, she's so good. Which, by the way,
I loved her. I loved her as an actress and a character. I love Nerys.
Yeah.
She was great.
By the way, I'm convinced. I don't know what Nana Visitor's racial background is. You know, what her heritage is. I'm convinced it's at least 5% anime character.
What makes you say that?
Dude, look at her. She's got huge eyes, huge mouth, tiny little nose, and she's like, "Wow!" Like, watch Kira sometime when you watch U6 9. She's just like, I expect her to go kawaii at some points. She's just adorable.
She is. I agree. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I was like I said, I just got done rewatching Deep Space Nine, and I'm watching, and I'm just thinking, Jesus, she's like the closest thing to a real life anime character I've ever seen. Like, her eyes are huge.
I can see now. I'm gonna go back and watch a few episodes and try and keep that in my mind now.
Yeah, she's got a cute little nose, and it looks a little bigger because they put the prosthetic on, right?
Right.
She's got this big. Now, I'm not objectifying her as a woman when I say this, but she's got a big, beautiful mouth and big, beautiful eyes, right? But, like, yeah. And, like, kind of a small head. I don't know how else to describe it. You know?
Yeah, I definitely got to look at episodes again and keep those things in mind.
You know another thing I thought made Deep Space Nine so great?
What?
A lot of the other Star Treks don't deal with religion or faith that much.
That's true.
And,
that's a good point.
Dude, Deep Space Nine is like all in with it. It is all in.
Yes.
Obviously, all the Bajorans, they're like, they literally find out, dude, our gods are real and they're right there. There they are. Like, they can point to the wormhole and go, there you go, there's heaven right there. We can see it. Yeah. They have these orbs and that the gods talk to them occasionally.
Yes.
One of my favorite episodes is when Kira finally tells Cisco, like, yes, I've tried to hide this for so long, but yes, you are my emissary. Like,
oh, yes.
Like, when she, like, tells him that, and then by the end of the episode, like, it actually strengthens their relationship. Like, it's so good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know?
I remember early on in the series when I think it was the Bajoran leader early on, I think it was Kai Opaka was her name, when she told Cisco that, I was like, okay, I'm really interesting to see where this goes. And then, like you said, when Kira confided in Cisco in that, and I was like, there it is!
Yeah.
Yes!
Oh my god, can we just mention for a second? So you mentioned Kai Opaka, but then she is replaced by Kai Wynn. Oh my god, you know who that actress is, right?
No.
That actress is the actress who played Nurse Ratched in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Really?
One of the best... Dude, Nurse Ratched is one of the best movie villains of all time. And then I was watching it one day, and I kept thinking, like, every time I would see it, I'm like, I know her from somewhere, but I could never place it. And then my wife, who loves old movies, goes, hey, it's Nurse Ratched. And I go, oh my... Like literally, like, head exploded. I was like, I couldn't believe it that she recognized that was Nurse. And I had to go to IMDb and look, and she was right.
Nice.
And she did it another time, too, when I was watching Next Generation, and she goes, why is Murdoch on Star Trek? I'm like, who are you talking about? She goes, right there, that's Murdoch. Yeah, Charles Barkley was Murdoch from A-Team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Literal explosion. Like, I had to get surgery to put the pieces back in.
Oh yeah.
My head didn't literally explode, but I was
right
figuratively floored. Like, I did one of these. What? Yeah. It was.
Oh, Reg.
And I actually, that's one of the things I did like about Voyager, that they brought Barclay back as a significant role. Because he's just a very interesting character.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
One of my favorite Reg lines was from First Contact. He was like, Dr. Zimmerman, I know you think this is weird, but can I just shake your hand? Thank you, Doctor. And Jordy's like, Reg, sorry.
He's just being a fanboy.
Yeah, absolutely.
By the way, another reason that Deep Space Nine is one of my favorites. Oh God, what's his name? The actor who plays Liquidator Brunt and Weyoun, Jeffrey Combs, is one of the finest actors on Star Trek. He is amazing. And he's very prevalent on Enterprise. He has like 3 different, I think he has like 7 roles on Enterprise. Like some of them are just one-offs, but he also plays the Andorian Shran on Enterprise.
Wow.
Yeah, he's all over Enterprise.
Oh.
Yeah. Jeffrey Combs is fantastic. His portrayal of Weyoun is fantastic. Like, that's just another amazing actor on Deep Space Nine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah.
I was really sad when Kayapaka passed. I gotta say, I really liked that character. I wasn't a big fan of, Weyoun. I mean, I understand it had to be somebody different, but I really liked Kayapaka's character and that actress.
Yeah, I agree.
I was very sad when her character died.
Yeah. No. Doc, what's his name? Dr. Disrespect is not actually following me. He is subscribed to my channel because someone gifted him a sub. But no, Dr. Disrespect is... Are you a PUBG player, Drew?
I've played it a few times. Okay. I'm not a big player, but I've played it a few times.
So do you know who Dr. Disrespect is?
Yes.
Yeah, all right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, on Friday, someone gifted a sub to my channel to Dr. Disrespect.
Nice.
And also,
that's awesome.
Also Kriparian. I know you're not into Hearthstone, but Kriparian is a Hearthstone player, probably one of the biggest on Twitch. And Kriparian's actually the reason I made a Twitch account, so I could watch him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So when I saw NL Crip is now sub to your channel, I'm like, oh, God. Life goals.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. And listen, I've been dominating this conversation. We only have about 7 minutes left. I apologize that I've been so dominating this conversation. You've got that amazing background.
No, it's all good. I've enjoyed it, man. I've really enjoyed it.
I would love to do, sort of a longer form and have like 3 or 4 guests on and do like maybe a 2-hour.
That would be awesome. Yeah. I would be all for that. Absolutely.
I've got to find more nerds like us who can talk.
Star Trek nerds.
Yes, Star Trek nerds.
Yes.
Not Star Wars nerds. Those damn Star Wars nerds.
Nothing against Star Wars.
No, I love Star Wars.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, you know what? Real quick, let me just ask this. Are you excited about the Han Solo movie coming out?
Yes. Very looking forward to that one. Absolutely.
I feel like Rogue One was so much better than Episode 7.
Agreed.
And I thought Episode 8 was pretty good. I liked Episode 8, so I'm hoping that Han Solo is likewise better than 8.
Yeah, that would be nice. I mean, I know it's a different story. Rogue One was the story in itself, but if it's as that good, this Han Solo movie is, yes, yeah. That's such a high bar that, in my opinion, that Rogue One set though. That movie was like, oh my God. Wow, I was really blown away by that one.
I don't know. I mean, I thought Rogue One was great. I thought, especially since you knew how it was going to end, how it had to end. You knew it had to end with everyone dying. And they still took the time to get you invested in those characters. I don't know. It's great.
Yes,
but
agreed.
Was there anything Star Trek related you wanted to talk about before we run out of time? I feel like bad that I kind of dominated things here.
No, we kind of hit everything that I was, expecting to talk about. We talked about, a favorite series, DS9, because it was just so unique from everything else. Oh, here's a question.
Sure.
Who is your favorite captain? Now, I'll go first if you need to think about it.
I don't. It's got to be Picard. It's got to be Picard, right?
Yes.
I mean, it has to be.
Absolutely. Yes.
Not only because obviously Patrick Stewart did such an amazing job, but because he personified Starfleet so well, but he also had that little bit of Kirk in him that it's like, I know I have to break the rules here every once in a while.
Yeah.
I assume you're going to say Picard as well.
Oh yes, absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Kirk, Kirk is iconic, but with Picard being the Renaissance man that he was, and like you said, because he was such a great actor, nothing against against Kirk, but man, yeah, Picard hands down for me as well. Such the diplomat. I mean, Kirk was a diplomat, but Picard, compared to Kirk, was so much more diplomatic with everything.
And I mean, and he was a brilliant tactician. Like, he could handle the ship in combat. He, he was knowledgeable. Like, you're right, Renaissance man. That's the perfect word for him.
Yeah,
it really is.
I mean, come on, Kirk would have never come up with something like the Picard maneuver. Come on,
there you go.
Kirk's like just fire phasers and go.
Well, in fairness, Kirk is the only person to ever defeat the Kobayashi Maru simulation in Starfleet.
Defeated the Kobayashi Maru, in quotes.
Hey, you did it.
That's true. Yeah. I really liked how that was explained in the reboot, because I was like, and I'm sure Star Trek fans everywhere was like, how did he do it? So I was really happy and totally nerded out to see how that all played out.
That makes sense.
I really like that.
I'll say this. If you were to ask me one episode, you were only to... Actually, before I tell you, I'm going to ask you one episode, and if you want, I'll go first. One episode that for you is just like possibly the best episode of Star Trek. Any series... You want to? I'll talk about it.
You go first.
All right. I'm pretty sure the name of the episode is called "The Guiding Light." It's Next Generation. The Enterprise encounters a probe, and when they go to scan it, it fires a beam of light and it knocks Captain Picard to the floor. Captain Picard wakes up and he's on some planet, and his wife is like, "Oh, you've been sick for 3 days," and he's like, "Who am I? Where am I?" And then Picard lives an entire life as this man named Galen. He learns to play his flute. He learns that their planet is dying. They're a pre-warp culture. They managed to send a probe into space that has the memories of one person out into space. And one of the last things that an old Galen sees is watching this rocket ship lift off into space. But the episode doesn't end there, because
that's right.
From then, like, it ends with him playing this recorder that he learns how to play in his other life. But then in future episodes, he's playing the recorder. In future episodes, you see the recorder on the shelf. You see, like, like that says that he lived that whole life. He now has 2 lives in his memories. Like, that's just... And every single thing about that episode, if you go back and watch that episode, every single aspect of that episode is 100% spot on. The music, the acting, the lighting, it's just a perfect episode.
That is a really good choice. Oh my goodness. Because the one that for me has to be, and I know it's a 2-parter, but Best of Both Worlds.
Which one's that?
It's the when Picard becomes abducted by the Borg.
That's a good one too.
Yeah. But I like everything you pointed out about that episode. That's your favorite. That is a really, really, really good episode.
The only possible criticism you can have for The Guiding Light is that it's a single character episode. It's not an ensemble episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, Best of Both Worlds. That is a good one. That is a good one.
I mean, just that, and because I think, and I might be confusing, but I think isn't Spock in that 2-part episode? Is that right? Or am I thinking of a different one?
You know what? I haven't watched TNG in a while.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Unfortunately. It's been a couple of years since I watched TNG, so I'm a little hazy.
Yeah.
Goldfish memory.
Yeah. But yeah, best of both worlds for me. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Just the whole what happened to Picard, and then the whole conflict of them bringing Picard back.
Or how about when the Enterprise warps into Wolf 359 and it's just a graveyard, and you're like,
yes,
dude, one cube did destroy an entire fleet. It's like,
oh yeah,
that's a good one.
That's a good one. And I like how DS9 started with that come back to Wolf 359 and see how Cisco got his chip on the shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
As right after that pilot episode of DS9, oh my God, I was like, okay, this is gonna be a Star Trek I've never seen before, and my God, that was so good. Oh man,
all right,
great series.
I know we have to wrap up. Mm-hmm. Personal opinion doesn't have to be rooted in any sort of real fact. What's your favorite ship that you've seen?
Oh man.
I'll go first again and give you a chance to think about it. So my favorite is the Defiant on Deep Space Nine. Obviously, I like Deep Space Nine as my favorite series, but I love what they did with the Defiant. First of all, it was a warship that was designed to combat the Borg. So harkening back to the original series of Star Trek, it was written based around old submarine war movies, and there's a lot of episodes where you get that feeling like they're on a submarine, like when they talk about we're venting atmosphere, there's a hull breach, they're firing torpedoes. It's a lot of Star Trek is rooted in those old World War II submarine movies, right? Defiant says, no, we don't have these 10-foot ceilings and 8-foot wide corridors with families running around on them and arboretums. No. This is a warship. It's small, it's tight, it's compact. The bunk rooms have four bunks in them. This is a ship of war, and it doesn't work. Like, the ship doesn't work. It's so derpy. The ship itself is derpy. It doesn't. It's got a cloaking device from the Romulans, and it's a beautiful, wonderful, weird ship, and I love it.
Yes, yeah. For me, it has to be. I mean, it's tough for me because the Enterprise D is just so iconic with the series. But my favorite ship would have to be the Enterprise E, kind of along the lines that you like the Defiant, because the Enterprise E was built as more of an assault cruiser to fight things like the Borg and I think it was the Jem'Hadar. And I just think because it was more designed for combat as opposed to the Enterprise D was more kind of an exploratory vessel, that's why I call the Enterprise E my favorite.
Yeah.
And I think it's just the way that they designed it just looks really sleek and makes total sense that's an assault cruiser. So the Enterprise E is my favorite.
I can absolutely see that. I'd like to also give special mention to the Nova-class starship, which we mentioned earlier. Captain Ransom is flying the... someone said Shadowfire Angel knew it, and I've already forgotten it. But yeah, the design of that ship looks really nice, too. I just like the design, and they've used that model repeatedly throughout all the different series just because they've got it built. So it's like whenever we need... a ship in the background, and it was like, it was a mass-produced science vessel. It's just a science vessel. It's not, anything powerful or strong, but I like the way it looks. The Equinox, thank you, Shadowfire. I appreciate it.
Nice.
The Equinox, it's a nice-looking ship. And
absolutely,
especially if you really nerd out and go and look at the blueprints for the ship, which I may have done, you realize that the design is specifically that way because of all of the sensors that it has. Like, it's just loaded with sensors.
Yeah.
It's a science ship. Well, listen.
I mean, talking blueprints, I'll admit I own the technical manual for the Enterprise D. Talking about nerding out.
I used to, but my dad packed it all up and took it to a used bookstore and sold it, so... it's fine. It's like you get to a point where you're like, I can't. Like, I don't have room for it anyways. It was just sitting at my parents' house. My dad's like, "Can I get rid of all these books?" And I'm like, "Yeah, go ahead." Like, I got rid of. I said I think I said the only thing I wanted to keep was my Lord of the Rings books, you know.
Yeah.
But like he got rid of all my D&D novels and Anne McCaffrey novels and.
Ooh.
But yeah, he asked my permission. I said, yeah, get rid of them. That's fine.
Yeah.
So, well, on that note, Drew, I'm sorry I haven't had you on the Palaver sooner. You know, I'm usually like 3 or 4 guests, Steve. So, but yeah, when I heard you talking about Star Trek, I'm like, oh, gotta get drunk. So thank you so much for being here. If you haven't, well, when I say D&D books, hold on. Let me correct myself. When I say D&D books, I mean the D&D novels, like my Dragonlance novels.
Oh, novel.
Not my handbooks, not my rule book.
Gotcha.
Drew, have you ever seen my tattoo, Drew?
Yes, I have. I think I've seen it on a VOD and on Discord.
Yeah. 40th birthday.
Yeah.
I decided to get my very first tattoo, and there was only one thing I could get, which was a D20, because D&D is life. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But thank you so much for being on. I really appreciate it.
I have detected a new follower for the channel.
And thank you very much, Shadowfire Angel, for following. I will make sure I check you out, and if you're a big Star Trek nerd, we'll talk. I'll talk to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. Thanks for having me on. I really enjoyed it. And hopefully, maybe sometime down the line, we can get, I don't know, it'll be another Palaver, but a group discussion on Star Trek. I'm there.
I've already got an idea for the overlay in my mind. I'm thinking L-Cars themed.
Nice. Absolutely.
So
yes.
That'd be so good.
Yes.
If you are not already following this beautiful, beautiful man, please go to twitch.tv/Druhillion. He makes at least a once-a-day appearance in the Proper Nerds Discord, so any of the Proper Nerds homies should already know him and should already be following him. But on that note, we do have to wrap things up, and I always wrap up my Palaver in the same way. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this thing, and then we're going to say goodbye, and then we're going to find someone to drop a host bomb on. So if you are watching, please stay tuned and show some love to whoever we drop the host bomb on after we say goodbye. Drew, the thing we do to wrap up the show is we give our guest the last word.
Oh, jeez, I knew this was coming. Well, like I said, it's been a lot of fun being here on the Palaver and talking Star Trek. So thank you to everyone who was here. Thank you so much, Rhev, for the opportunity to be here and chat. Thank you for everyone who came by. And have a good rest of the day or night, wherever everyone out there in the world is at. Take care of yourselves, each other, and always happy gaming, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Rhev is logging out of the system. Please stand by for a raid on another Twitch streamer. Establishing connection now. Please hold.